哎呦我的，点点点人数好多吧？
那你看欧律师看，
说那么夸张，
一旦亮光就看不见了。
这个感叹词。
我很直接的，我这人，人家都叫我侄女来的。
点点，
让他把那个屏幕亮了就看不见了。
对啊，亮了就不见了吗？
哦，这个呢，
完美。
这是一个速递嘛？那个标识。
我怎么加那文件在哪儿来的？
什么文件？
用文件啊。
是不是往远一点这样好一点？
没有用它，没有用它。
也用电脑是吧？
你只能投一下，你关你这个最小化的就得了吗？最小化吗？怎么最小化呢？
这个最小化啊。这个
怎么做？你这种。
你要找啥呀？
不会用。最小化。
最小化屏幕。
对啊。哦，这里。拉下来就得了吗？拉下来，最小黄色。
把它最小。
对啊，那不就可以了？
然后呢，我在这儿就可以。它那个摄像头里面，你打开看一下，看看那个效果怎么样，能不能看到我们这个显示屏？等一下，还要用这个。然后这块儿，能看到我们的显示屏吗？稍等啊。能看到我们的显示屏吗？那显示屏上是正的字还是反的字？显示屏上是正的字还是反的字？
调一下。
这样子看一下，正的字反的字那儿。这样子看一下，正的字反的字那儿。
看不清背景。可以了。
是吧？
那你要侧着。
可以了。
现在可以吗？
不要动就动啊。不要动。
可以吗？就可以吗？现在能看清楚吗？现在能看清楚吗？要不行，关一个这个灯。
根本没关系。
应该是屏幕，
不行，关
这个可以。
你的头坐过来。
我这面。
那边。
这面。
对。
坐
过去。
对，现在可以吗？
这样就。
这样是不是就好了？
对。因为你的脸是背光的。可以了。
是吧？稍等啊，我们这里面也在做。我们到了，看一下啊，你的摄像头在哪儿呢？我看一下，然后那个林律师，你来负责这个文件啊，你来负责这个文件的移动，好吧？
文件的移动。
你们两个。
为什么要动手机？
这个是，哎，你来调整角度，你就照我就行了，那个就照我就可以了，那不需要照我们的显示屏，因为哎，照显示屏是正字吗？
应该是正的，
是啊，
因为它是前置摄像，
后
这可以是吧？然后上一次讲到多少条了
348，
348条是吧？你要会调，那块能看清楚吗？
没有。
348条。
看就行。
Okay, let's continue our class on China Civil Code, Civil Law. 这个帮我说起来。
不是冷吗？
冷不故意形象吗？不是要有形象的问题吗 ？Okay, now let's begin our class and come to Article 348. Civil Code 300, Article 348. We are a right to use a lot of land for construction purposes is created through bidding, auction, agreement, or other means of transfer. The parties shall enter into a contract in writing. Here, the law requires that a contract for transference of a lot of land should be in writing. Here is a requirement, and this is for the transfer of right to use the lot of land for construction. Here we have construction purposes, land for construction purposes, land for construction purposes. Okay. A contract for transfer of the right to use a lot of land for construction purposes generally contain the following clauses. In this contract, we should have all the following, at least include the following. First of all, the identity, the name and address of each party. The identity. Here, the name and address of the party. Identity of a party of the contract. Okay, we should know this. This is the identity. And of course, when we learn about the contract law of China, we should learn what should be included in a contract. And the most important thing is the identity information. And so here, the law requires the name and address. And normally, we should know that the identity information, identity information of an individual is the household registration information. You understand that? You still remember the household registration information. Information. There is information. Household registration information. 户籍登记信息 household. Okay. The identity of a party of the contract. The house for a Chinese citizen, for a Chinese individual, the household registration information includes the name, including the family name and the given name, right? The family name and the given name. And his domicile means the address legally registered, okay? Where his or her household registration is registered, okay? Domicile, you know domicile?
住址怎么拼
Domicile. Domicile. Okay. First of all, the name, and then for name, including family name and given name, and the domicile means the registered address. Okay, registered address, and then birthday. Okay,
真的
birthday or date of birth. Okay, birthday is not correct. It should be the date of birth. Name. Okay, date of birth, and
真的
identity number. UMBER, number of identity. Okay. And first of all, the name, and then date of birth, and gender. Gender, whether it's a man or woman. Okay. Male or female. Okay, number of identity. And here, the law requires all this is all those informations required to identify who the party is, if this party is an individual. You understand this, right? Name, gender, date of birth, domicile, and number of identity. This is an individual. Individual. Okay. And then we will also have some organizations. Okay. Organizations. For a company, there should be the name of the company, name of the company, okay, and then domicile, and then legal legal representative. Okay, legal representative. And here the name of the company.
registration number.
No, it is not required. It is not required to identify. If you have all these names, and of course, all those things will be indicated by what? Indicated by the business license, right? Business license, or the information demonstrated by the credit system by the national credit system. The information demonstrated by the national credit system, credit 信用 credit the national system. I should translate it this way: national system of credit the national system of credit. The national publicizing system, the national publicizing system of credit. Okay. And if we just download all those information on this system, the court and all those authorities, the government agencies will accept. Okay. Of course, now the Chinese court will make investigation if you do not have all those information, if you make an application at the court. You can catch me, right? Okay. Look at my mouth and you will understand me better. Right. And here, of course, okay. And the name and address. And of course, this is not all the means and bounds in the area of the land. Means and bounds means the boundary. Means and bounds, the boundary. And the total area of the boundary. Okay. Do you have a boundary? In China, it is difficult for an individual to make a boundary for himself because we have so large a population that everywhere you go, you will find yourself crowded into a lot of people. So everybody is touched by a lot of people. 边界, okay. And the space occupied, space occupied by the buildings, structures and auxiliary facilities. Auxiliary facilities means that is not part of the building. It is not the main part of the building. It is all those facilities fixed up to help the house or the land to work. Thereof, we have the word here. We've got to learn this word. Thereof. Okay.
附属
Okay.
附属设施是。
Okay.
那还有个词叫facility， affiliate， 那个也是附属的意思。
叫什么
？affiliate 啊，
是啊，附属的意思。
对 affiliate，
附近嘛，
就是比如说他的公司子公司叫 affiliate company， affiliate。
affiliate. Okay. This is different. Auxiliary facilities means the facilities, the functioning structures, or those something like the pipeline system, water pipeline system, water and the power system, and that is underground. We have a lot of facilities in the ground, right? Yeah. The planned use and the zoning conditions of the lot. Okay, the planned use. Just now we mentioned the rural agricultural land, right? And rural industrial industry for industry purpose, and here construction purpose. We have agricultural, construction, and industry and commercial uses, and all those are the planned use. And this is planned by the government, and zoning conditions. What is it in Chinese?
规划条件。
Okay. The time period of the right to use the lot of land for construction purposes. And here you've got to know in China, the time is the time period. The longest one is for construction, for living constructions, right? Okay, house, living. What is the problem? Okay. It is 70 years. Okay, it is a lease. What is a lease? You have a contract with the country to buy the use within a limited period of time to use this land. That is 70 years. And of course, if the land is for living, means house, okay, for housing, it will be renewed. The period will be renewed automatically and without charge, okay? But for industry and commercial use, that will be, the land will be charged for this. So this office should be charged 40 years later. And who will be charged? I do not know. Okay. To use the lot of land, that piece of land, lot of land for construction. The price and other charges, and here the price and charges. What does charges mean? When you transfer a piece of land, the usage or the use, the right to use the land, when you transfer the right to use the land, you've got to have it registered at authorities, right? And then some money will be charged, okay? And then the charges and the terms of payment thereof. The term of payment. In every contract, there should be a term of payment. And the means of dispute resolution. Means of dispute resolution. No problem, right? Okay. We explained all this last time. Okay, 349. To create a right to use a lot of land for construction purposes. Okay. Application shall be filed with the registration authority for the registration of the right. Okay. And here, in order to create a right to use a lot of land, a piece of land for construction purposes, you should make an application at the registration authority, and to have the right to use the land for that purpose registered. When you have this right registered, you have the right in your hand. Otherwise, you do not have the right to use the land, right? The right to use a lot of land for construction purposes is created upon registration. As of is created, we've got to know this right to use a lot of land for construction purposes. The right is created. That means you gain this right when this right is registered. Without registration, you still do not have the right. And everybody knows this is similar to that rules of the buildings, okay, the house, okay.
Even though they have paid all the money.
okay. Even though you've already paid the money, okay, you already have possessed that piece of land or the house. You are still not the owner. You are still not entitled to this land. Okay. The right is created upon registration, and upon means as of the time and after. Upon means what? Means as of the time and after. Okay? Upon means as of the time and after. Or afterwards. As of the time and after. Okay. I do not know how to. Okay, see. And afterwards, the registration authority should issue a title certificate. Issue a title certificate to the person entitled to the right. Okay, if you have the right, and the authority, the registration authority, should issue a title certificate, a certificate of title. The title. Okay. What kind of certificate do you have? Entitled to the court, to the right. Okay. We've got to know those sentences in blue. In blue. And a person is entitled to something. Okay. Is entitled to. Means you have the right. Okay, Article 350. A person who has the right to use a lot of land for construction purposes should make reasonable use of the lot and may not change its planned use. Okay, you understand it is make reasonable use. What does reasonable use mean? It should be appropriate, right? Okay, not reasonable, but appropriate. Appropriate. Double P, right?
Double P.
Oh, okay. Make appropriate use. Okay. And this has nothing with reasoning.
Reasonable.
It is not reasonable. Okay. What does reasonable mean? Everybody can imagine. if I eat my glass, if I eat my glasses, you say this is not reasonable, right? You understand me? If I throw this on Xiaoliu's head, that is not reasonable because I am crazy. Okay? Okay? If I put it on my head, this is also reasonable. Right? Okay? When it is urgent, I've got to break something, I can make use of the glass. Okay? This is also reasonable, right? This is reasonable, but it is not appropriate use of it. It is for us to see, help us to see, right? Okay, this is the appropriate use of the glasses, right? Okay, for the land, and there is a planned use. The use of the land is planned by the authorities, by the government, and so you've got to obey all those rules, right? So this is appropriate use of the land and may not change its planned use. You do not have the right to change it. Suppose this is commercial use or construction use, and you have a. What about this? What about this? We also have recreational, right? Recreational. There is a park just outside of the Jihua Park, right? That is a park. What about I buy the land and then I how to say, I dig a big pool, I make a reservoir, 水库, okay, and then I will fish there every day. Can I do that? No, that is not the recreational use of the land. Okay. Okay. I cannot change the planned use. Where it is necessary to change the planned use of the land. Where means when. Under the condition and the circumstances, it is necessary to change the planned use of the lot of land. Approval shall be obtained from the competent administrative department. And here we have approval should be obtained, means approval. We also have other words like this is approval, permission, consent, approval. Okay, permission, consent. You know the difference between the words. Okay. Approval, there should be, this is a formal, very formal way to get a consent or permission from the government approval. And there should be some sort of document issued by the government to indicate the consent or permission of the authority. The approval should be in a formal form. Normally in the form of a document or license or a certificate, something like this, right? Okay, this is approval, right? And then all those should be in a very formal procedure, formal form, and formal procedure. Okay? Normally in the form of a document or a certificate or a license or a red line document. Okay, this is approval. And we also have what? Excuse me. This is approval. And we also have what? Permission. Permission means an agreement for some authority to allow you to do something or to give you make it legal, reasonable, and it is legal to do something that is the permission and consent. What does consent mean? Can I use your pen? You say yes. You may nod your head, and that is consent. Okay. Where it is necessary to change the planned use of the lot, approval shall be obtained from the competent administrative department. Okay, competent means this department, the administrative department, has enough right. Competent.
Power. Enough power.
Right. This means this authority has enough power, has the necessary power to do something. Okay. Suppose if you want to change the agricultural land into construction, okay, it should be agreed by a much higher level of the government. Okay. Suppose there is the base land for food production, 基本农田, okay, should be approved by what? The provincial government. Okay. If you want to change the name or the name of our city, Foshan, it should be approved by what? By the central government. Right? Okay. And if Shunde wants to be separated from Foshan, okay, should be approved by the central government.
State government.
State council. Competent means a person or an organization who has enough power or capacity, or capacity or the right or the skills. Okay, so in your CV, in your resume, you may have in your profile, we have competence, means what kind of skills do you have? Competence. We have this word. Competence. This is competence. Your language competence, your English is fluent, your Chinese is fluent, and your Bawa is a mother tongue, right?
可以提升到bilingual 吗？
Okay, your Cantonese is mother tongue. My Dongbei dialect, you understand me? Dialect. 东北话 dialect. Okay, approval, formal form. Okay, Article 351. A person who has the right to use a lot of land for construction purposes shall pay the transfer fee and other fees in accordance with the law and the contract. What does it mean? And here, fee. Has the right to use a lot of land for construction purposes shall pay the transfer fee. Okay, so this is the Chinese. Read me 把那个中文给我读一下。Read the Chinese for me.
近市用地使用权人应当依照法律规定以及合同约定支付出让金等费用。In accordance with the law and the contract.
In accordance with the law and the or the contract. And here, I do not know why they use and. It is and or.
它是说以及
And or. Okay? And or. Okay? Sometimes there is only, suppose I buy a piece of land from Mr. Yang, and I do not have to pay other fees to the government. We should perform what? The obligations should be written in the contract, and so we should make all our conduct. We should act in accordance with the contract, but not the law. Okay? Okay. And of course, here we have another meaning that means a person gaining the title of a piece of land for construction purposes. He may gain it from what? He may gain it from the government. And so he should pay for the price. And so here should be shall pay and other charges. Do you know what does fee mean? Fee means small money. Small money means fee. And here, charges. When this money is paid to the authorities, it is called charge. It is called charge. Okay? So we have court charges. When you file a case at the court, you've got to pay the court charges. Okay, when you file an application for a patent registration, so you've got to pay the charges.
一般喜欢就用 official fee， 就是
No. Official fee is not official fee. That is charges. Should be charges. And of course, when you are charged for what? For the paper, for the bulk of your brochure or a certificate. Okay, this is the fee. You understand that? Okay, and so lawyer's fee is the attorney fee. It is, but our client will ask us, how much would you charge me? Okay, a client comes to us and asks how much money they should pay as the attorney fee. They will ask, how much would you charge me? Okay, and so this is different. The charge and fee and expenses and the price is different. Here, pay the price and other charges. And of course, I know, as we all know, this emphasis is on those money spent, paid to the government. Because the government buys the land from the farmers and then sell to the enterprises, right? Okay, in accordance with law and the contract. And then let's go. The ownership of buildings, structures, and auxiliary facilities thereof, constructed by a person with the right to use the piece of land for construction purposes, belongs to the person. Okay, we should know that means all those buildings, structures, or auxiliary facilities constructed on that piece of land should belong to the owner or the individual who has the right to use the land. Okay, you have the right on or off the land, and then the building you build there belongs to you. Okay. Okay. Okay, and here, so it is said here, unless it is proved by evidence to the contrary. Unless proved or proven, unless it is proved by evidence to the contrary.
证据啊。有些他有土地使用权，但是他违建了。
Unless it is proved otherwise by evidence. Unless it is proved otherwise, right? Okay. Unless it is proved otherwise.
Otherwise 就是相反。
Okay. Otherwise, the Chinese saying is not correct. The Chinese saying is not correct. Okay. Why? Why it is to the contrary? Why to the contrary? And now we have two parties, Mr. O and me here. This land belongs to me. Okay, suppose we only have two rivalry parties here. The contrary is Mr. O, right? Right, the contrary. This is mine or his, right? But in practice, it is not always this directly. This might be any other people's right, right? So otherwise means different, right? Okay. Unless it is proved otherwise, okay? Unless otherwise provided by law, the person with the right to use a lot of land for construction purposes are entitled to transfer, exchange, offer as capital construction contribution, given away as a gift, or mortgage their rights. Mortgage the right, okay? And here we should know the capital contribution. Capital contribution means to make investment. And okay. Of course, you have the right of the to use a piece of land. This is valuable. The use of the land is a value that can be invested in any enterprise or any project, right? So, and of course, you have this right, and this right is absolute right. It is a right on a thing, right? On a thing. And so this is absolute right. Absolute right. Okay? And so you have the right to do anything with it, for it. Okay? You have the right, and this is a right on a thing, so you have the right to possess, utilize, benefit from, and dispose of this thing, right? Okay. Though you are not the owner of the piece of land, only the country can be the owner of the land, and so you are not the land, but you. This is similar. The right to use a piece of land or the house for the piece of land is similar to a right on a thing, right? Okay. Mortgage. Article 354. Where a right to use a lot of land for construction purposes is transferred, exchanged, offered as capital contribution, given away as a gift, or mortgaged, the parties shall enter into a contract in writing. And here we've got to know. Just now we learned that a person who has the right to use a piece of land will have the right to do what? To transfer it, exchange it, investment, and gifting or mortgage, right? But while you're doing it, all the right, any change to the right to use the land, the piece of land should be registered. Okay. Okay. The term of the use shall be agreed upon by the parties. And here, the term of the use, the term means the time period. The time period. Time period. We just change it into time period of the use shall be agreed upon by the parties, provided that it may not be exceed the remaining term of the right, to use the term of the right to use the lot of land for construction purposes. And here we have this is the term is what? 70 years or 40 years or 50 years or 30 years, right? Okay. And now you only have a period of time to use this land for 30 years. Yeah, you cannot transfer it exceeding the term you bought from the government, right? Okay, let's go. Article 355. Where a right to use a lot of land for construction purposes 小刘去哪儿了? Is transferred, exchanged, given away. An application for registration shall be filed. And here, this is also change of land. This is also change of land. So there should be re-registration. Okay, re-registration. Re-registration. Should be a re-registration. Means you already have registered the right you have over the land, and then when there is a change or anything happens to the right of this piece of land, you've got to apply at the authority to change the application, change the registration information. Okay, any change for the right of a piece of land should be registered. Okay, without registration, the change is not legally accepted or recognized. Okay, shall be filed with the registration authority. Okay, here. Application for registration of the change shall be filed with the registration authority. Okay. Where a right to use a lot of land for construction purposes is transferred, exchanged, or offered as a capital contribution, or given away as a gift to the buildings, structures, and auxiliary facilities thereof attached to the land. Attached to the land. And here we have the buildings on the land, right? And structures. It is not a building. It is something like the pole of electricity. Okay, it is not a building. Okay, it should be transferred together with it. And auxiliary facilities, the pipelines for water. Okay, we understand that, right? Okay, and the line system of electricity, of power. Okay, thereon or thereof should be disposed. Should be disposed. Should be disposed. What does dispose mean? Dispose includes transfer, exchange, or contribution, and gift. All those actions or all those acts are regarded as disposal, right? Disposal. Concomitantly, at the same time. Concomitantly, at the same time. Disposed. Okay. When you exchange it, suppose this is my piece of land, that is Miss Liu's piece of land, and we exchange it. Okay, unlike yours because you have a pool there and I can fish there. Okay, okay. Mr. Liu likes ooze and Miss Liu likes ooze, and mine we have a lot of trees on it, and so you can come and to 采蘑菇. Okay, okay. Dispose concomitantly. Okay. Okay. Where a building or structure and auxiliary facilities thereof are transferred, exchanged, of offered as capital contribution, or given away as a gift, the right to use the lot of land for construction purposes is the lot of land occupied by the building, structures and auxiliary facilities thereof shall be disposed concomitantly. The same thing, right? Okay. Means the building should follow the land. The land should follow the building, right? Okay. Offer as a capital contribution. Okay. Okay, let's go. Article 358, where a right to use a piece of land for construction purposes needs to be taken back prior to expiration of its term for public interest purposes should be taken back prior to expiration of its term for public interest purposes. Public interest means the government, the country expropriate. Expropriate. You know this word? You've learned the word. Expropriate. You know this? 征收 expropriate. Okay. And you have a period of time of 70 years to use this piece of land, and this period of 70 years is still not expired. And that means you still have the right to use it for a longer time, but the government may expropriate it for public interest. Okay, public interest. And here we got to learn public interest purpose. 公共利益之目的 public interest. Okay, should know this. Expiration of its term. Expiration means the term, the period of time is exhausted. Is exhausted. Okay. Prior to, before. Prior to, before. Before, prior to. Okay. Before, prior to. Prior to, before. Before the expiration of its term. Okay. Taken back means to expropriate. Compensation shall be paid to the house and other immovable property on the land according to the provisions of Article 243 of this code. In here, compensation shall be paid to the house and immovable property. And the portion of the unused transfer fee. Unused transfer fee. I do not know. A transfer fee means the price when you bought this land, right? Suppose we have the land. I gain the right to use this piece of land from the government for 70 years. For 70 years, okay? And then I sell it to Mr. Young. Okay, I sell it to Mr. Young. And at this time, we still have 40 years to use the land, right? Okay, and 10 years later, when we still have 30 years period of time to use the land, and then there is an expropriation from the government, and then the government should pay for the price of 30 years. But how to price it? How to price it? How to make up the price of the land? when I bought it, it was 10,000 RMB, 1 meter, 1 square meter. And now, 40 years later, the price is 100 times more, right? And we do not know. So this is what I do not know. And shall be refunded. The transfer fee shall be refunded. What does it mean? It means the price you pay to the government. I am the original owner of the right to use the piece of land because I bought it from the government and I paid 10,000 RMB for 1 square meter. And now, 40 years later, the price will be 100 times higher, right? Right? But this is only refunded. What does refunded mean? Means now, 40 years later, the price is 1,000, right? 1,000. No. 10,000. 10,000. That is, yeah. I do not know how much is that. 10,000 times 100. What is this? 1 million, right? 1,000, right? 1 million now. And so how much should be paid, should be refunded? How much? How much? No, it is 1 million now. But when I bought it, it was 1,000, right? 10,000, okay? 10,000. And so I do not know. That means the original price should be refunded to the owner at that time. I do not know. This is not understandable.
实际上他们也不考虑这个比例有多少，是吧？
Okay.
还是看那个市场价。
It's cold. Okay. The portion of the unused transfer fee, and this is robbery. I think this is robbery. The unused transfer fee means the price. Okay. Now, totally 70 years, and we've used it for 35 years. We still have 35 years, means half of the original price should be refunded. But now the price is what? This is 10 times, suppose 10 times or 2 times. Okay, 2 times. If I sell it to another person, not to the government, the price will be much more higher, right? But if it is expropriated by the government, then the price will be only the original price. I do not understand because this is refunded, means returned, right? I do not know. Article 359, the right to use a lot of land for construction of residential building is automatically renewed upon expiration of the period of time. Okay, residential means where we live. Okay, where we live. Residential.
那如果按照上面那个征收，政府其实赚很多，他用剩余的没有还没使用的来征收，然后又按市场价来卖出去，这个中间的差价就惊人了。
Right, the price difference is quite much. Okay.
For public interest.
For public interest, for whatever they
Right.
say as public interest.
再看看，
Yes, of course. The public interest means the government, the interest of the government. Okay, okay. For the purpose of the government, they will refund the price you paid 30 years ago, and then they will get the land and then sell it at a price of the market price, and that will be much higher, and they can make a lot of money for that.
或者说违背承诺，说征收的时候说好是为公共利益，然后后来就改了，就变成商业利益，就像那一环一样。
We'd better not speak Chinese here. The payment, okay, a portion of the unused transfer fee means the portion of the unused. I do not know how it doesn't matter. We do not use it. The right to use a piece of land for construction of residential building is automatically renewed upon expiration of the term. The payment reduction exemption of the renewal fees shall be dealt with in accordance with the provisions of the laws and administrative regulations. And there is another possibility. And at that time, there will be a new law. At that time, suppose now we have it, the law says the payment reduction exemption of the renewal fee, and here we have a renewal fee. Renewal fee means what? We've got to pay some fee, whatever it is, and we do not know how much will that, and in what way it will be calculated. Shall be dealt with in accordance with the provisions of the laws. Do we have other provisions of the laws or administrative regulations? And there is something not so reasonable. I do not think this is a good way. It means here the right, you gain the title of the land in accordance with the law. Okay, can you lose it in accordance with the rules of the administrative regulations? That means administrative regulations will have some impact on the rules or on the right you gain by the law. That means the government will do something. The administrative system will have the right to do something to the right you gain by means of the civil code. This is something. This is so-called a reformation, right? So this is something not so nice of the law. So this makes a possibility for the government to get away the land at any time for the reason, for the ground of public interest. Okay, and they only have the right to break all those contracts you signed with you, and they just refund the original price. Okay, this is, of course, it is not a contract of legal status, equal status. No, the government and the individual or civil law identity, civil law entity. Okay, civil law entity is they're not equal, and so they have the right to get away so try to make a lot of money and try to buy some land or building outside of this country, and that will be much safer. I think so. Okay. The renewal of the right to use a lot of land for construction buildings other than residence upon expiration of the right shall be dealt with in accordance with the provisions of the laws. And here, there is something quite different.
No regulation.
Shall be dealt in accordance with the provisions of the laws. And there is no administrative regulations. Why? I do not understand. Okay, they are not equal. Okay? For constructions other than residential, for commercial or industrial use of the land. Okay? And that will be regulated by rules of the laws. And this has nothing to do with administrative regulations. But for residential, they have administrative regulations. What does it mean? And here, at the very beginning, we say this is renewed automatically. And you've got to make payment for the renewal fees. And these fees shall be regulated or calculated on based off those provisions of the laws and administrative regulations. Means the administrative authorities will have the right to do something. Okay? And for industry and commerce or in other buildings, you've got to obey the rules of the laws, the provisions of the laws. The ownership of the buildings and other immovable properties on such lot of land shall be determined in accordance with the agreement, or where there is no agreement or relevant agreement is unclear, in accordance with the provisions of laws and administrative regulations. And here, for the land for construction buildings other than residential use, okay, you should obey the rules of the laws. And for those buildings on that piece of land, you've got to abide by all the rules of laws and administrative regulations. This is new rule. This is new rule. And there's no discussion on it. And no lawyer discussed about it. And I never noticed any article written on this point. Right? But this is absolutely different. And that means when we have a right based on rules of the law, it is safer, right? When we have a right, and our right, the existence and the maintenance, the stability of a right should be based on administrative regulations, and then it is less safer. I think so, right? So for the buildings, for our houses or apartments, whether you have the house or an apartment, the right shall be ruled by administrative regulations, but not always by the law. And so it is less safer. I think so. So do not buy a lot of houses, apartment, whatever that is. Okay. Okay. And they always have the right to, they can buy the land for the original price and then sell it to the outside. And you have the right, you only have 70 years. Okay. And then 40 years pass, and now you have 30 years, right? And the price you paid, the original price you paid for the next 30 years, okay, will be only refunded to you, okay? And then when they sell to the market once again, and they can lengthen the term to 70 years. You understand that? This is really a very good business. If I were the government, this is a very good business. I can make a lot of money. And now you have 70 years, okay? And then now, this time I buy this land from you, okay? And refund the original price for the next 30 years. And then when I sell to another person, I can lengthen the term to 70 years, okay? And the price is the market price at the time when I sell it, okay? I can make a lot of money. And they can make money again and again and again and again. 70 years, 30 years, renew it. Okay? This is a very good business. This is terrible. Okay? I don't
那
know.
房子到底归谁？后面
What is the time now?
8:30.
8:30. Okay. This is something
不
terrible.
明确。
So,
那个房子
what is the area of your all your houses you own? You will see how much it is. How much you spent 10 million to buy all the houses you own now, and 30 years later you will lose it for public interest purpose, and they will make a lot of money, and you've got to buy a new one. You've got to buy the new house or the piece of land from the government once again, and at the price at that time. That is something. So this is a very good business. So everybody wants to be the ruler, so they can make a good business. Other than any kind of, this is the best business in this world. So this is the power of gunpowder. Power of gunpowder. Okay, Article 360. Where a right to use a lot of land for the construction purposes is extinguished. Okay, that means the term or the time period is expired. The death of your right at the authority. Deregister the right. The registration authority shall withdraw the title certificate thereof. And we can see what kind of right, what we have bought, what we have worked so much, so hard to make a lot of money. It seems we made a lot of money and we gain a lot of things for our hard work. You're a lawyer and you have what? That is a dream. It is a dream. The transferor of the right. Who is the transferor? The government, right? So this is terrible. I do not know how to deal with it. Okay, I'll
He's
say.
not the ruler, so don't think of it.
I am the ruled. I am the ruled person, and so I've got to know how they will rule me. Okay, suppose I am a goat or a cattle. I'm a bull. Okay, and they are the husbandry person, right? And they have their weapons to say go this way and that way and that way. I've got to know. If we're clever, we've got to know how they will rule us. Okay, and we will know how to live our life. Otherwise, we do not know. We do not know. If you are a
To know action. because you can't understand how they work. How to work.
I know how they work.
You don't know, so don't tell about this thing and just go ahead your class. Okay?
Okay. Registration authority shall withdraw the title certificate thereof of the piece of land. Of the piece of land. Okay. Okay. We'll go very quickly. We will go very quickly. The using of a piece of land collectively owned land for construction purposes shall be dealt with in accordance with the provisions of laws on land administration. Okay. Shall be dealt with. Okay. And we'll go to the next part. This is a very important part. Rights to use house site. And this is rural land in the countryside, in the villages. They have the land collectively owned by the villagers collectively. Okay. And they have a rule, a pair of rules for house site. Do you have a house site in the city? You bought a lot of houses. You have very big amount of apartments here. Do you have a house site? No, you do not have that. Okay, only the villagers, because they cannot build very tall building in the village. And so the most important thing is the house site. This is different rule. Different rule. A person who has the right to use a house site is entitled to possess and use the lot of land owned by the collective. And this land is owned by what? By the collective means a collective of the villagers, right? To utilize such lot of land to build a dwelling and auxiliary buildings in accordance with the law. And here, you have the right to possess it and to use it. And to use it means to utilize this building. So this is another kind of thing. You're a villager. You have your household registration in the village, and then you have the right to get the house site in the village from the land owned by the villagers collectively. And now you have the right to possess it, to use it, right? Dwelling, what does dwelling mean? Means only for residential use, right? Dwelling. And auxiliary facilities, okay? The acquisition exercise, the acquisition means the way you get the title of this piece of land. Exercise means to enjoy this right, and to transfer of such right to use a house site are governed by the laws on land administration and relevant regulations of the state. Regulations of the state. What is the regulation of the state? And they have a new word. Okay, just now we have laws, administrative regulations, and here we have regulations of the state. Regulations of the state. Okay, where a house site is destroyed due to natural disaster or for other reasons, the right to use the house site is extinguished. Means your right to use this piece of land is killed if your house site is destroyed. by natural disaster or for other reasons. There is an earthquake, and then there will be something covered the house site, and then you lose the right to use that piece of land because your right is on the surface of the ground. Is on the surface of the ground, not into the ground. Suppose there is a river, there is a natural disaster, and then on your house there is a river appearing. Okay? And you cannot say, I will just block the water and then I will build the building on the new earth. You cannot, because when your house is, the site is destroyed, you lose the right. A new house site shall be allocated in accordance with law to the villagers who have lost their house site. A new house site shall be allocated in accordance with law to the villagers who have lost their house site. Means if you are a villager, you have a house site in the village, and when it is destroyed by the natural disaster, who will be obligated to give a new house site to the villager? Who? We do not know. Who has the right to give the villager a house site? Do you know? It is not said by law. There is only a clear assertion when your house site is destroyed by natural disaster. Okay, you will lose the right. You do not have the right to recover your house site. You understand this? But it is not said. At least here we do not know who is obligated to give, to allocate
他应
a
该
household
前面
house site.
前面363条嘛，
嗯，
按照土地管理法那个国家有关规定。那因为那一条也写了土地宅基地使用权的取得嘛，那重新分配相当于就是取得。
Is it clearly described who should give the house site and in by what procedure? If there is any charge or fees paid to the government or to the village, who knows?
这样的土地管理法了，是不是？
It is clearly stated there. I do not know. Okay, it doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with our service. Okay, where a registered right to use a house site is transferred or extinguished, registration of the change or deregistration of the right shall be made in a timely manner. Okay, when it is transferred or extinguished, registration of the right of the change, okay, or deregistration of the right. When you lose the right, you should make an application to say, I have lost the right. Please get back the certificate. Who will do that? Who will do that? Who will be willing to do that? How can people be so silly, so stupid? Okay, maybe they of course they've got to live in a house. They've got to live in a house and they've got to recover, want to get a new house site, right? Want to get a new house site, and so they've got to make an application. And then before all that, before they get a new house site, they've got to deregister their former house site, right? Okay. And next time there will be something very important, the right of habitation, the right to use a land or a house or an apartment. And this is what we say habitation. And it is already time to dismiss the class. That's all for today. До свидания and bye bye. OK， 好了，今天的课就到这儿了。刘律师能跟上了吗？我一直在看你。慢慢跟，慢慢跟一段时间就好了，好吧？今天的课呢就到这里。
关直播，关直播，
关直播，
我的直播在哪儿呢？
右下角吧。
停止违法行为。现行
这
党的面的现在。
不许乱说。在哪儿关来着？
下面了，
就是。
下面红的。
That's all for today. Bye bye.
拜拜。
别这么说。